Can't remember when, but I think it was after Tendulkar retired that there was a function in Bombay where Tendulkar was asked by a journalist, "Who do you think will cross your records?" And there was a young Virat Kohli and a young Rohit Sharma in the audience. And Tendulkar, in his, you know, very typical way, said, "I think it's going to be somebody in the audience who's going to cross my records." And the camera kind of panned to show Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, looking all shy and coy and, confident and ready to take on the world. Humble that they were honored by Sachin to say this, but ready to take on the world. And what you saw right from, I think, 2010, 2011 till a long time was, I think, 7, 8 years, a good 7, 8 years, was a period of complete, utter, total domination by Virat Kohli on the test arena. There was a time when he was averaging about 55, second highest, if I'm not wrong, after Bradman. And he was way ahead of his peers, way ahead of Stephen Smith, way ahead of Joe Root, way ahead of Kane Williamson. He was like on a different league altogether. And as an Indian, we've always suffered, those heartbreaks, those losses in the big tournaments, but at least in the bottom of our hearts, we always knew that, okay, chalo, if not anything else, at the very top is an Indian guy, Sachin Tendulkar. And to replace him will be an Indian guy, Virat Kohli. But somewhere that all changed. Somewhere that became not just a distant dream, but somewhere that became that feeling of, cha, yaar, I mean, how did this happen? I've I've always been a Virat Kohli fan. I really have. I love arguing with my friends, especially one particular friend. If you're watching this, you know who you are. That I don't. I always felt Virat Kohli was about himself and about the records and all about the showmanship and look at me, yeah, yeah, yeah types. But in my heart of hearts, Virat Kohli symbolized the new India. Virat Kohli symbolized an India that did not back down, you know. And it's strange that his progression kind of, matched up with India's progression. And I felt not sad, but I did. Would I be wrong when I said I felt let down when he decided to quit Test cricket? It seemed like such a, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it seemed like such a selfish thing to do, to say that you're no longer interested in playing this format of the game. See, Virat Kohli lives on a different level, right? His expectations in life, the burdens he carries, they're all on a different level altogether. As normal human beings who have normal lives, we can never understand it. Forget being an elite sportsman. Virat Kohli went into a zone where he was sort of like demigod. And unfortunately, with being demigod on the sports field, especially in India, and demigod in cricket, your social aura is such that you can no longer have a normal life. And perhaps it was this off the field stuff that kind of made him crave for normalcy. And maybe he found that somewhere else. And maybe he thought, okay, let me walk away from it, when he's still in control. Maybe he didn't want to be dropped. Maybe he didn't want to go through that. He was in such a dip. There was this, I think there still is this fantastic meme that shows like the best cover drives in the world. And you have this fantastic cover drive that Sachin plays in Australia, which is, with his front leg coming all the way through, bat following through, perfect timing. And then there was Virat Kohli's cover drive. I think there were four shots I loved most in cricket by four people in no order of importance or no order of, um, liking. First was the back foot punch by Sachin, where he got onto his legs and just kind of back foot punched it through the covers. That was a classic, beautiful shot. The second was VVS Lakshman's flick. It was magic to the eyes, man. And the third, believe it or not, was Rahul Dravid's defense. The ability to dead ball and just kill whatever enthusiasm the bowler had. Next level. And fourth, believe it or not, was Virat Kohli's cover drive. Virat Kohli, when his pomp, owned the region between the fifth and the sixth stump. That was his zone. There was just no way that a bowler was bowling there and the ball was not disappearing to the cover boundary in the most beautiful, eloquent of manners. And then what happened? You had this time when Dravid was nearing the end of his career and he kept getting bowled. Tendulkar was, towards the end of his career, kept getting caught in short cover, in a straightish, you know, um, and then sometimes in mid-on he was getting caught, sometimes he was getting caught, in a short cover region. And these were just telltale signs that the body is catching up, your hand-eye coordination is not quite the same. And I always saw, towards the last 5 years, the statisticians will say that, Virat Kohli was getting out for, he averaged 30 and he, became basically Jimmy Anderson's muse, getting out all the time, pretty much in the same way, caught at slip, caught at slip, caught at slip, and then the ball comes back in, bowl through the gate. But I think the low point, um, especially for me as a fan and as a diehard fan of Virat Kohli, was I think he played a domestic game versus the Railways, and like a regular ticket collector kind of a guy. I don't want to discredit him, by the way. If you're watching, I highly doubt it, but if you're watching, very good ball. But just a regular run up and bowl. I don't know if it was really fast or anything of that sort, but didn't look so. And he just bowls an incoming. He bowls an outgoing one, gets driven for four, and then bowls an incoming one, gets clean bowled. Virat Kohli, just like that. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, what happened? What's happened to the guy? It just broke my heart. And I think it was very soon after that, maybe with Gigi coming in, Gautam Gambhir, and all the politics over there. I'm not sure, but somewhere, somehow, Virat Kohli lost his mojo. And you thought that the trip to Australia would give him that second lease of life, It wasn't quite the swinging ball of England. It was very batting friendly conditions. And when you saw the ton in Sydney, you thought maybe he's back, Maybe that's his second innings. But looks like there was something else in store, wasn't there? I'm trying to be as pragmatic as possible here. I know it's sport. I know people retire from all forms of cricket, different forms of cricket. I know people go through ups and downs, but we not only lost Virat Kohli, we lost the chance at becoming Sachin number two. And who is that chance going to now? a very, very, very deserving candidate, nonetheless. Please, I don't mean to take away anything from Joe Root. I think Joe Root is one of the most. He's like Rahul Dravid meets. it's like it's like Rahul Dravid's English version is Joe Root. I think barring that one crazy fight he had with David Warner, pretty sure it was with David Warner and Joe Root. I'm not sure, but I think he got punched in the face. I don't think he even started the fight. So Joe Root is an absolute gentleman, and I love watching him play. He's all about the class. He's all about the timing, the placement. Even in T20 cricket, he's such a joy to watch. And don't get me wrong. I think Joe Root's a great. He needs about 2,000 runs more to overtake Sachin, and definitely he'll do that. Right? He'll definitely do that. But maybe it's a combination of different reasons. Since the COVID pandemic that happened, England have played more Test cricket than any other nation, and not by a small means, by almost like 150% more. And primarily in England with this whole baseball, McCullum and Stokes and let's go aggressive and all that stuff. The pitches have become super conducive to batting, which meant that a Puritan like Joe Root, it was a perfect platform for him to kind of really blossom. And he scored 24 centuries apparently in the last 4 years. And if you think about it, that means that and he's now equal to Pontings, which is 41 or 42, if I'm not wrong. So he was, there or thereabouts, like about 20, 18, 20, and he just kind of shot off. So in the last 4 years, when Virat Kohli kind of started dipping and well and truly dipped, you had guys like Joe Root and Steve Smith and Kane Williamson who just kind of took off on the level altogether. Now, I'm not even comparing Virat Kohli with the rest of the guys because the comparison is not from a point of view of runs or anything of that sort. If you just think about the lives that these people lead and what it means to be Virat Kohli compared to what it means to be Steve Smith or compared to what it means to be Kane Williamson, I mean, it's nothing like it. I think I remember when New Zealand defeated India in the first T20 World Cup. I remember seeing the footage of Kane Williamson going back home to New Zealand, and he was all alone picking up his luggage in the airport and putting it up on this big thing, and he was kind of taking the trolley out alone, all by himself into the outside the airport, and there were probably a couple of fans, probably Indian fans that too, by the way, and he had the World Cup like on the luggage, and I was just thinking, what the hell is going on? I mean, can you imagine if India had won the T20? I'm sorry, the WTC World Cup. This was back in 4 years back. Well, now 5 years back. So 2 cycles back, I guess. The first one, the inaugural one. So if you think about their lives are nothing like each other, and sure, I would say that Virat Kohli had gone through a lot more stress, than these guys would. I think any Indian cricketer in average goes through a lot more than these guys do. But come on, man. Kya hua Virat Kohli? I still feel you have it in you to come back, dude. I really do. Going to Babas and ashrams, sure. See, it's never a bad time to find peace in life. It's never a bad time to think you're part of a larger plan and stuff. But when you're on a field, you're a tiger, dude. You're like a mean machine. Maybe you let that slip a bit, you know? Maybe that hunger just kind of died in the face of not success. Everybody goes through a bad patch. Even Tendulkar went through a bad patch. Tennis elbow injury, He was out of form. But this time it was different with Virat Kohli. Yeah? That bow he took at the end when he got his century, I kind of knew right then actually that that was the end of an era with Virat Kohli. Rohit was good, dude. Rohit Sharma was good. Don't get me wrong. But Rohit Sharma was not Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli was in a different league. Completely different league. In test matches, Virat Kohli was in a completely different league. So I just saw this video by Sanjay Manjrekar today. I'm sure he'll get a lot of love from all the Virat Kohli fans for saying what he did. I try to think about it, and I'm not completely disagreeing with what he said, but maybe that's what he truly believes. And if you actually listen to the whole thing, I completely support him. He's definitely a Virat Kohli fan too. He also is kind of hurt by the fact that Joe Root is going to be the next Sachin Tendulkar. Usually, I guess my blog's a little bit more bubbly and more energetic, but today I feel sad, dude. I feel happy for Joe Root. I feel happy for England cricket, but Khodia, we lost a chance. We lost a chance to cement a legacy. I guess our next best bet is Shubman Gill. We'll wait and watch.